Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Canal Algérie's News in English and in today's top stories. Algeria wins the first match of the African Nations Championship or CHAN 2022 against Libya. The African Nations Championship 2022 officially kicks off from Nelson Mandela Stadium, and the guests of Algeria hail the high-level organization and the efforts deployed to make this event a success. And a marvelous atmosphere prevails over the Nelson Mandela Stadium thanks to the fans present. Images coming up. The New York Times ranks the Tassili Najar National Park as one of the best touristic destinations in the world. The proceedings of the 16th Congress of the Polisario Front kicks off in the Sahrawi refugee camps with strong international presence. Good evening, those are today's headlines. First in our news is the score of the first match of CHAN 2022 against Libya in Group A, where Algeria won with a 0-0 from Mahyous in the 57th minute from a penalty. Algeria proves once again that it will always rise up to the challenge. The long-awaited 7th edition of the African Nations Championship kicked off on Friday in a marvelous atmosphere at the Nelson Mandela Stadium in Berraqi, the capital Algiers, with an extraordinary opening ceremony that displayed the rich cultural heritage and traditions of the land of martyrs, Algeria. As the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, affirmed, Algeria has already proved its strong attachment to its Mediterranean and Arab identity. This time, the country proves again its strong attachment to its African identity with the most spectacular opening of an African championship. This opening ceremony of the African Nations Championship or CHAN 2022 was supervised by the Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman in the name of the President of the Republic Abdelmajid Tebboune, and this in the presence of the grandson of the iconic leader Nelson Mandela, the President of the International Federation of Association Football FIFA Gianni Infantino, and the President of the Confederation of African Football Patrice Motsepe, and African and international figures. During his opening speech in the name of the President of the Republic, the Premier announced the kickoff of this major sporting event, reaffirming that through organizing this event, Algeria aims to strengthen the ties that bind the African countries together. Let's have a listen.
The Algerian state provided all the human and material means to ensure the success of this major continental sporting event. Algerian provinces such as Constantine, Oran and Annaba displayed the rich history and their cultural, artistic and natural diversity to welcome their guests and visitors. Algeria strives through the organization of this championship to consolidate the values of cooperation, cultural exchange and strengthening means of communication and coexistence between countries and the peoples of our continent, and affirms the contribution of sports in the promotion of values of solidarity and peace.
For his part, the President of the African Football Federation, Algerian Football Federation, Jahid Zvisef, reaffirmed the dedication in accordance with the instructions of the President of the Republic to make this edition of CHAN exceptional. Let's have a listen.
Today, Algeria is proud of its African identity. We are proudly ready from the Nelson Mandela Stadium to host the CHAN 2022. We have been working carefully throughout the last period in accordance with the guidelines of the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune. Supporter of youth and sports, until Algerian provinces such as Oran, Constantine and Annaba are in their most beautiful image to make this a special edition in the history of this competition, held in exceptional circumstances, which will be in addition to African football.
The President of the African Football Confederation, Patrice Motsepe, stated that he considers Algeria a second home, as it is to all Africans. Let's listen.
Algeria is the home of all Africans. When I'm in Algeria, I am home. Algeria is the home for the whole of Africa. I want to thank the people of Algeria for welcoming all of the nations for football in Algeria. We are going to make this CHAN the best CHAN ever in the history of Africa. I also want to thank the President of Algeria, the Prime Minister of Algeria, the government of Algeria, the people of Algeria. I want to thank you on behalf of the 54 nations in Africa. I want to thank my brother, the President of FIFA, Gianni Infantino, for his support for African football. Football brings the people together. We will continue to use football to bring people together and to unite the people of Africa and the people of the world. I wish all of the nations that are here good luck, best performance, and Algeria always, with all of the other 54 nations in Africa, make African football very proud. Thank you very much. God bless you. May the competition begin.
Nelson Mandela's grandson expressed his gratitude to Algeria and to the President of the Republic that gave the Berqi Stadium the name Mandela. Let's listen.
His Excellency, the President of Algeria, His Excellency, the Prime Minister, the government of Algeria, and the entire people of Algeria, we want to say to you, thank you for inviting us to what Madiba considered his second home. We are here today to witness in front of the entire leadership of the Africa Cup of Nations, as led by Patrice Motsepe, as well as with all the soccer-loving people of the world, to see and witness this land of revolutionaries that made Madiba a man that ensured that it stood side by side with all African nations who were in fight for liberation, and ensured that it supported our struggles to witness the freedom that we enjoy today. We therefore want to take this opportunity to thank the Algerian people for bestowing such an honor on my grandfather Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela by naming this beautiful stadium after him. And we say that in his honor, let us not forget the last colony of Africa, Western Sahara. Let us fight to free Western Sahara from oppression. Let us also remember that Madiba said our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of Palestine. Therefore, we stand together to fight for the liberation of Palestine. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! From the river to the sea! Free, free Palestine!
As we were saying earlier, Algeria inaugurated on Thursday, under the patronage of the President of the Republic, one of its many state-of-the-art sports infrastructures, the Nelson Mandela Stadium. The details with Daniel Bahri.
Algeria today, under the leadership of the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, succeeded with merit in raising the challenge of organization. Nelson Mandela Stadium is not just a stadium that will contain the passion of Algerian youth for football, but will also mark Algeria's history, as it is risen from one achievement to another with a reputation that goes beyond the borders. This historic event was held in the presence of the largest football bodies in the world and the grandson of the fighter and historical leader Nelson Mandela. A jewel that radiates over all of Africa. This is how the President of the Republic used to describe Nelson Mandela Stadium when he inaugurated it. Algeria has a right to be proud of this achievement, especially with its infrastructure that lives up to international standards. The challenge was the opening of the African Championship of Nations, but the deeper dimension is the highest priority that the President of the Republic gave to youth and his keenness to provide all the facilities and sport infrastructures in which they find a way out in modern life that reflects the true meaning of change by giving them hope of self-realization. The President of the Republic renewed his commitment to construct youth facilities in a balanced way across the country, such as Bashar and Wergla provinces' stadiums. Extreme care and maintenance is also necessary to preserve this Algerian masterpiece. Historical moments in which Braki Stadium illuminates the African continent, whose teams meet on the land of Algeria, which is faithful to its identity with a face worthy of the new Algeria.
The grandson of the leader Nelson Mandela, Zoué Livilil Mandela, sent a message of gratitude and recognition to the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, where he considered the new stadium bearing the name of Nelson Mandela a symbol for the rooted relations between Algeria and South Africa. Nelson Mandela's grandson stated that he is honored to attend the opening of the African Nations Championship that Algeria organizes. He also expressed his full gratitude to the President of the Republic, government and people of Algeria on the occasion of the inauguration of the new stadium Nelson Mandela, wishing a great success to the CHAN competition. Nelson Mandela's grandson considered this occasion an opportunity to recall the great value and respect that Mandela has in Algeria and in the African continent and the world. Mandela has always considered Algeria his second home and the home of the revolutionaries of the African continent, hailing Algeria's initiative to name the sports infrastructure Mandela to continue in efforts for a unified Africa and a better world, reiterating that the late President Nelson Mandela did not only receive military training in Algeria, he reshaped the path of the fight against apartheid, further hailing Algeria's role in the recovery of freedom and Algeria's continuous support to the important strategic issues, notably the Palestinian cause and the Sahrawi cause, concluding by wishing Algeria best of luck in making CHAN a success. The kickoff of the 16th Congress of the Polisario Front was held in Dakhla in the presence of 2,000 participants from several countries, including the Algerian delegation. This is the first meeting of its kind since the resumption of the armed struggle between the Polisario Front and Morocco. Manal Ammari has more.
Crucial decisions are awaited during the 16th Conference of the Polisario Front for the liberation of Saqit al-Hamra and Wadi Dhab, which kicked off at the Dakhla refugee camp under the slogan "The escalation of the struggle for the withdrawal of the Moroccan occupier and the recovery of total sovereignty." The election of a new political direction for the Polisario Front was on the agenda of the first Polisario Front conference, carried out after the resumption of the Sahrawi armed struggle, as well as the establishment of a medium-term action program.
Ce 16e congrès se tient dans une conjoncture très particulière.
The 16th conference is held under very particular circumstances. On the one hand, there are many opportunities internationally. Morocco, and despite all of the malicious assistance that it used, is in total isolation, both internally and internationally. The development on the international level is in favor of the Polisario Front.
Au niveau international.
This Congress is taking place during a historical moment for the Sahrawi people's just struggle for their self-determination and full independence. While the armed struggle is resuming, there are very important challenges for the Sahrawi people and the international community. This large-scale gathering reaffirms the commitment to close the Sahrawi ranks by forming a united front within the Polisario Front to support the armed struggle until the independence and the recovery of complete sovereignty of the occupied Sahrawi territories. I am a parliamentarian within the Latin American Parliament Palatino, consisting of Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, Bolivia, and Venezuela. I am an activist for the Sahrawi cause. It is a defining moment to denounce the situation in Western Sahara. It is important because there is a legitimization which must be carried out by all the people. So this armed struggle has the way throughout the liberation struggle to defend their legitimate right to self-determination. From the moment where the international community and the UN do not fulfill their obligations, the people has to choose the means available that are provided by the UN Charter. All the African peoples fought with arms in hand at a certain point, including Nelson Mandela, who should never be forgotten. There is a lot going on the international level, as well as Africa. The Court of Justice, Human Rights and African Peoples took a stand by affirming that the Sahara is the Sahara, while confirming the International Court of Justice's statement made in 1975. We are now waiting for the judgment of the European Court of Justice, which will blow up from the moment where the judges will confirm the judgment made by 4 other judges in September 2021, which will be confirmed by the end of the year. This Congress highlighted a convergence of views between the Sahrawi people and their leaders. It also showcased a great solidarity on the international level for the Sahrawi cause.
The New York Times newspaper has ranked the Tassili Najar National Park in the south of Algeria among the best 52 destinations to visit in the world in 2023. More about the breathtaking landscapes and rich history of Tassili Najar with Sabrina Tafrignet.
Algeria, one of the best 52 tourist destinations in the world for the year of 2023, according to the American newspaper New York Times. Tassili Najar National Park is part of the outstanding places to visit. This national park carries all the necessary elements of tourism, including ruins, traditional food, and the opportunity to experience its culture, engage in atypical activities, and of course, witness its natural beauty, including sunsets. It will be easier for tourists now to discover the breathtaking, mesmerizing landscapes of Algerian Sahara, especially after the facilitations concerning the visa issuing policy. This national park is considered as the biggest open-air museum with its archaeological sites still preserved till this day, which makes it, indeed, one of the best destinations.
Ingizam Tassili also attracts the tourists coming to enjoy its touristic and open-air museums. Coverage by Mohammed Bermaki, commentary by Sabrina Tafrignet.
Here in Akhadakh, one of the best destinations opted by the inhabitants of Ingizam province. Some of them just enjoy the tourist aspects of this place, others come for some grazing after all the raining that touched this region. This place has some grass for grazing. It is also the destinations for some to rest. In Inaradakh region in Ingizam Tassili, the mountains and dunes are known for their spectacular heights. Inaradakh has this name due to all the grazing happening even before the building of Ingizam. We come here to rest and for the children to play. We make tea as well and enjoy the beautiful view. It is indeed one of the best archaeological sites that must be preserved in order to preserve our heritage.
And we wrap up our news edition with the beautiful images from the marvelous opening ceremony of Chan 2022.